Would you say you're a dangerous person?
I don't think of myself as a dangerous person. I think that I can be dangerous for certain people through no fault of my own. I think if people expect me to behave a particular way or something, I think that it's a little bit of a misconception that psychopaths are predisposed to violence. I don't think there's necessarily a predisposition there. I think just the certain limitations that normal people would feel, like they don't want to, guilt, shame or whatever. They don't want to disappoint the people around them. They're image conscious. They care what other people think about them. They're worried about the consequences. If they're young, they're worried about, getting expelled, or they're worried about their parents finding out, or they're worried if they're older that they're going to go to jail. And I think if you just take all those away, then do normal people engage in violence too? Probably about the same rate, that psychopaths were, if you were able to take those all away. Because we do have these examples of, like normal people, if they get angry enough, or if for some reason they don't care enough, then they also do those things. So I don't think there is that kind of predisposition to violence at all in psychopaths. I think it's just that it's easier for them to do anything, I think, that's kind of contrary to social expectations. And that includes violence. I think that one of the reasons why I have not engaged in violence probably as much as other people. And I know other successful, let's say, sociopaths, psychopaths, who do have engaged in violence, who do have multiple convictions for assault, but are still like normal functioning, have good jobs and still do these things. But it's just, when push comes to shove or whatever, they were just raised in like a different culture. Like where I grew up, like kind of a little bit more hippie culture in California, violence is not really a thing that you would do. I think also kind of being female, I never really felt like that was going to be, a good, good way for me to assert myself, because I'm not that big. I'm 5'4" or whatever. That hasn't stopped some other female psychopaths I know, they're 5 foot or whatever, and, like taking on dudes that are 6 foot, with a knife or whatever. If I were in a situation in which violence was called for whatever reason, then I would engage in violence probably. And I just got in kind of an altercation this way. It was like a political dispute. I didn't realize that the other person was getting angry, so I just kept talking, which was my mistake. And they started saying, hey, I'm going to beat you up, basically. And then I thought, well, okay, I guess you can beat me up, because honestly, I would just take the punches too. And it's not because I'm like kind of morally superior. It's just because I don't care. I don't care about like the physical altercation. I don't care about not engaging in it. I would be like, fine, beat me up if you want to, I guess. That's fine. I wouldn't fear that sort of thing. And sometimes something would bother me a lot psychologically. It would trigger me into what I'll call gray rage. It's actually a term that another psychopath came up with, so I just borrowed the term, although it applies to me. And gray rage is most reliably triggered when somebody who doesn't have authority over you tries to assert authority over you in a particular situation. And another psychopath friend says it's when people have a false sense of their own authority and a false sense of their own personal safety. And I think that's what triggers it. Then you think, I'm going to correct this person about their false sense of authority and safety, and make them fear for their safety, and make them realize they have no authority over me, because I will take it to the nth degree, including violence, in order to kind of correct them of this misapprehension. So gray rage, it's a very cold, that's why it's called gray, not red, not even blue or whatever, just a gray rage, in which it's almost as if, like when you're gray raging, you feel very not yourself, very not kind of in control, almost like a fugue state, like this is just what's happening. And I have experienced that a couple times. Luckily, when I have gray raged, I have never been able to actually track down the intended victim in time to do anything. And even if I did track them down, what could I have done? I'm 5'4". I don't think I could have hurt them very badly. And I think it is something that you quickly snap out of within maybe, at least an hour, and often like 5 to 10 minutes, you kind of snap out of it. I don't know why that is a pretty common trait for psychopaths to feel. And I think that this is probably, though, why people do end up in prison. Especially, it's pretty impulsive, and it's pretty, pretty kind of, you're not thinking about any consequences. You're almost not, you don't even feel like you're making the decisions yourself. You just feel like you're kind of acting in this particular way, and it's just like you're fulfilling an almost destiny. And it's a very unique experience. I probably experience it maybe once every, back when at my playground stage, maybe once every year, once every 2 years. And now it's been like 5 to 8 years since I have experienced it.